Hey everyone, Dane here from Moving to Canada. I'm recording this video today. It is Wednesday, June 9th, and Canada has just announced some pretty exciting COVID measures. They're going to be relaxing the 14-day quarantine requirements for fully vaccinated travelers who are entering Canada. So we're finally seeing some relaxation of COVID measures, which is great news. So I'm going to go into all of the details about what was announced today as well as what wasn't announced today, because as much as we got some great movement on the quarantine front, there are still a lot of travel restrictions in place, and we don't yet know when all of those restrictions will be relaxed. So let's jump into it. There was a press conference earlier today at about noon Toronto time, and Canada's Minister for Health, Minister Patty Hajdu, announced that by early July, Canada is planning to end the 14-day quarantine requirement for fully vaccinated travelers who are entering Canada. But there are some very important caveats here. First of all, this will only be available to people who are already able to enter Canada. So they're not changing the travel restrictions or making like new categories of people who are allowed to enter. It's just if you're already exempt from the travel restrictions and you can enter and you are fully vaccinated, you'll be exempt from the 14-day quarantine requirement. Second, it doesn't mean that those fully vaccinated travelers have no special measures in effect. There are still some things you'll have to do. So you'll have to still undergo a pre-departure COVID-19 test. That's been the standard for the last few months anyway. And you will still have to take a COVID-19 test upon arrival in Canada. This is your day one COVID-19 test. And you will have to quarantine until you receive the results of that day one test. So it's not a 14-day quarantine. It'll probably just take a couple of days till you get those test results back. Provided your test results are negative, you'll be able to leave your quarantine. The other great thing is you can complete that quarantine at a location of your choosing, as long as it's a suitable quarantine location. Previously, they've had this like mandatory government authorized hotel stopover. They're going to scrap that for fully vaccinated travelers only. So that's how it will work for fully vaccinated travelers as well. In order to be considered fully vaccinated, you will have to received either both doses if it's a 2-dose vaccine regimen, or just the single dose if it's like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And you will have had to receive the final dose 2 weeks before you traveled, at least 2 weeks before you traveled to Canada. And it has to be one of the vaccines that's been approved for use in Canada. And there are only 4 vaccines approved in Canada. That's the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, and the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So that's great news for people who have been wanting to travel to Canada, or maybe Canadians who've been wanting to travel abroad and see family, but haven't been able to do so because of the very strict travel restrictions and the quarantine requirement. The only other thing worth mentioning here is it's supposed to start in early July. They haven't announced an exact date yet, but they said it's dependent on the epidemiological situation in Canada remaining stable. So Canada's cases have been going down. There's been really positive news in Canada over the past few weeks. So it has to remain stable for this to take effect. If cases start going back up for some reason, then they might extend the quarantine measures further. Now, during the press conference, there was a reporter who did ask about when Canada intends to lift the travel restrictions for, tourists or like other types of travelers, COPR holders who have been waiting for 15 months to travel to Canada and activate their permanent resident status. And they didn't give a hard date as to when they plan to start relaxing the travel restrictions. Basically, they intend to continue monitoring the epidemiological situation in Canada and the vaccine campaign. They mentioned, maybe 75% of the eligible population being fully vaccinated, having both doses of their vaccine, might be a trigger for the further relaxation of travel restrictions. They didn't say that for sure, but based on our current vaccine speed that could maybe happen by the end of the summer. So it's something to keep your eye on, but we know Canada has been getting tons of pressure from a lot of different actors. The US government is a huge one to open borders and allow more international travel. So there could be movement on that really at any time. We are monitoring it closely. And look, if you guys want to be one of the first people to find out about these changes to travel restrictions when they do happen, follow our COVID-19 travel updates page. I'll put a link to that just down there in the description, so you can click that link, bookmark that page. That's where we always post these updates as soon as they come out, so you can be one of the first people to find out. So that's it for today's video. Look, if you guys find these videos informative, make sure you like them, make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you got questions, drop them in the comments, and thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.